Michael Rips, the co-owner of the Jittery Joe's Roasting House. Michael, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Now, the Roasting House has been in the news lately. We were at an event 2 nights ago at Tesmo's Best, inaugural event of People for a Better Athens, and your partner Bob was there, Bob Googe. And Bob told us a little story about how y'all have been treated by Selig Enterprises, the developer that's under contract for this property. Kind of walk us through the timeline of what's been going on here. I know that y'all were communicating a few months ago because you wanted to have a space in that new tract. So what happened?
Well, the way it happened, we knew there was developments going on. We had heard through various channels that area was going to be developed. We weren't sure if it was going to be a public-private partnership or if it's going to be somebody private. So we reached out to some folks in the community, and we also tried to get in touch with Selig. So I tried to initiate contact after I found out that Selig was involved to find out what the development was going to be, where Jittery Joe's fit into that since we didn't own the building. Mm-hmm. And if there was a way at least to get ahead of what was happening rather than reacting to something that was going to happen and was out of our control. So it took a little doing, spent a few weeks trying to get in touch with Selig, finally set up a meeting, had a very brief meeting where they showed at least some initial plans of what they thought the development would look like. And unfortunately, at least for us, a little disappointing, they had at least carved out a small space for Jittery Joe's. And I think what was disappointing was that...
Right, like they carved out a 1,000 square foot space, and y'all need 6,000. You have a 6,000 square foot space now.
That's right. So we're a production facility.
Right.
We roast coffee, just like every bean that coming out of that facility is roasted by Charlie or Christian.
Y'all,
we need space to do that.
Y'all export coffee from Athens. This is an exporting company.
So we've probably roasted 1.5 million pounds out of that building. Wow. Every single bean has been roasted by Charlie or Christian. And it goes everywhere, all 50 states, even out of the country. We just put a shipment out going to Earth Fair in Cleveland, Ohio. Wow. They love us down there. And every can we send out has something about Athens on the back.
But that process requires some space. It's not like you can be squeezed into 1,000 square feet. There's no way.
No. So what'd you say to them?
Yeah.
So I guess what was disappointing is that they didn't make a couple of phone calls to understand that this is what this facility, it's not like our other cafes, that we needed space to be efficient, and we're growing. So we need to be able to expand. So there was a little miscommunication there. So we kind of left the meeting. I left the meeting thinking, number one, I'm not sure that a production facility would fit in this type of development. Number two, I'm not even sure it's the right type of development for us, something that had national chains. I would have liked to see a lot more local flavor, leading with local. And then building around that. Yep. So so we left that meeting and really haven't communicated again with Selig. I know they're reaching out to us now to talk, but I just cannot see a situation where we can get 5,000 to 10,000 square feet in what's at least being initially planned.
Well, so you did not communicate with Selig, and then Bob opened up the newspaper a couple days ago and saw that Selig had pulled the demolition permit for the building that your business is in.
That was the surprise, that we saw the demolition permit.
Yeah.
Even though there hasn't been a continuation of at least dialogue.
It's on the National Historic Register, is it not? Or is it at least recognized? I think it is.
It is.
There's no...
recognized.
I'm not an expert, and I don't know specifically, but... as a historical landmark, is my understanding.
Yeah, it's on the register, but that doesn't provide any protections without commission action.
Okay.
So, Michael's in a situation here where he's trying to communicate with some people developing this land to carve out a space for his local business. They don't get back to him. One day he opens up the newspaper and finds out that they pulled a demolition permit to destroy the building that his business is in, folks.
Right.
This is who we're dealing with, Selig Enterprises. That's incredible. That's incredible. So, Michael, do you think that the Jittery Joe's roasting facility could exist on some part of this tract within the schematic that we've seen out of Selig Enterprises, which they allegedly spent $500,000 on, which show me the receipt on that. Go ahead, Michael.
I don't know the answer to that.
Russell's kind of red. He's turning red.
I am turning red.
You better take the mic, Michael.
Let me just say, if you've been to the facility, it is just an incredible place.
The roasting house.
The roasting house.
Yeah, I went every day.
Nothing about it is fake. It's all authentic. You go in there. Charlie, Seth, who now runs the tasting room, and by the way, it's Philip Brown who made your drink.
Right, Philip Brown. Ago. Yeah.
It's all authentic. We run a business. We obviously we have to make money. Right? It's not about not making money or just having a place where we can roast coffee. We roast everything there, and we need that space. But it's an incredible place, and I'm not sure you can replicate that space. It's almost impossible. If we have to move, and we're realistic, things change, and we may eventually have outgrown that building. But that being the case, it's so much of Athens history and just what makes this town special. I've been in Athens 6 years, and I've lived in other places. I've been in Boston. We moved from Singapore. So I've seen big cities. And when we came to Athens, we fell in love with that spot. And that's why I got involved with the business. And so that's what's going to change. You just cannot recreate that. We can still roast beans anywhere. We could roast beans, in a warehouse anywhere. But it's so much of the history of Jittery Joe's and what it represents.
That must have been tough for you when, there was this community movement behind the Blue Heron Project for a public-private partnership of that tract of land. Then all of a sudden it just was scuttled and it just crumbled. And, there was nobody who had the vision in our local government to really carry that forward with the strength that we needed. It was scuttled, and then now all of a sudden we got a private developer swooping in with the plans just ready to go.
Well, not as a Jittery Joe's owner, but just as a resident of Athens, I think a real missed opportunity. And we had heard about the potential Blue Heron project, just a real special opportunity to recreate or expand on what makes Athens special. And, it's just not there anymore. I think we're going the opposite direction.
I think we have to be careful also not to let them take credit or in the article about this fight, not the fight, the sort of negotiations that you were having. It made it sound like, oh, yeah, we're carving out a special place for Jittery Joe's. That's just not true. They sounded like they just didn't negotiate in good faith with you all.
Well, I would say, again, I wish they had been proactive a lot earlier in working with us and helping to figure out this is the type of development that would welcome local businesses as well.
I don't think they care. I don't think they care. There's a large development corporation coming in from Atlanta. They're looking at the bottom line. Let's plop a 100,000 square foot Walmart anchor store there, and let's get the big bucks flowing into our office in Atlanta. That's what's happening.
Well, and also the bottom line is that Michael is correct that we want to preserve this local flavor and think of something. And I think Joe would probably agree with this, we were just talking to, that you have to take into consideration where your dollar is going,
right?
And what kind of activities the dollar that you spend is encouraged,
right? Well, I feel like this movement here, People for a Better Athens, we're standing with Jittery Joe's against this craziness of finding out your business is being destroyed by reading in the newspaper. We're going to fight this 100,000 anchor store, big box retail. But, moving forward, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for our community to revitalize some development and some planning vision. We don't need private developers to just come in here and run roughshod over everything. Now is an opportunity to revitalize this discussion of what we want that river area to look like. And if we need to express that desire, we need to have input in this process so that we can develop something that's good for the community.
Right.
That's not just imported. That's not just imported. Looks like everything else has the same national change. That's not Athens. That's not our cultural identity.
Well, tell me honestly, if Walmart is going to have the cannery that you've got in there where you guys can the beans, are they going to have old used bicycles sitting around? That's a very remanufactured
sell bikes. It's bikes out of the warehouse. It's a community place. Y'all have had parties there, contra dances there.
I still every day hit my head on a bike. It's okay. I'm drinking coffee.
Right. And the other thing is cool. I think to pick up the old burlap, or I don't know if they call it burlap anymore, but it's burlap sacks that the coffee comes in. You can purchase for what is it? A couple of bucks. It used to, I don't know, $1. Yeah, and you can use them for a variety of different things. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Those types of things. Those are the types of things that there's no way that you're going to get from a big box store.
Walmart will destroy that.
Go home, Mike.
I'd like to make one more point. People are talking about the roasting house and it being a coffee shop, and it is a small business. But Jittery Joe's employs over 150 people in the Athens area through all its stores, and every bean in there comes from the roasting house. So it's something that kind of spreads throughout the community. We're just not talking about one isolated business, and it has implications beyond just the production that happens there.
That's a great point. 150 local Jittery Joe's employees threatened by the fact that they're not going to have any beans to sell, right? I mean, now, one other thing I'd like to point out, with Selig, it's not anti-development. It's not that we don't want something on that tract. But the fact that it's going to be a 100,000 square foot big box retail store, that's unacceptable. So at the very least, subdivide it. Put a grocery store there. There's no other grocery stores there. Cut down that 100,000 square foot facility and create a bigger space to put a roasting facility. If it's 100,000 square foot, make it 85,000 square foot and cut it in half, make one a grocery store, and give the remaining 15,000 square foot area on that tract to the roasting house. And help them out. Help out Athens local businesses. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not do that?
Right. Because the focus is only on quarterly profit. That's the answer, Russell. Is that that's the only thing that they really care about.
Well, that's what they care about right now. But wait, let's keep pushing this petition. PeopleForABetterAthens.org. If you think that Athens can do better than a 100,000 square foot Walmart in our downtown district, go to PeopleForABetterAthens.org and sign our petition. Stand with folks like Michael Rips, who is a local business owner, one of the greatest local businesses we have in Athens that actually exports goods.
No.
He found out that his business was going to be destroyed in the newspaper. In the newspaper,
Read
folks.
about it.
This is insane.
How about, could a Bell's go in there? I mean,
Yes.
a Bell's is kind of a locally, or at least
Yes.
regionally owned thing.
It's
Yeah.
a grocery.
I think there's
grocery.
a solution. There's
Yeah.
a market solution that would probably satisfy everything. But it takes some vision,
Right.
and bringing all parties to the table to make it work.
And this is exactly, I've gotten some feedback from people like, oh, you don't believe in the market, blah blah blah. I said, actually, I do believe in the market. Did you see my petition? This is the market at work. This is people expressing themselves about a planned development. This is the free market. This is what's happening.
Right. I think that this idea of localism, we went to a pharmacy the other week, a local pharmacy actually, and there were locally grown apples in crates that they sold right next to the thing. This is something that's not going to happen at one of these big box
It's
stores.
unique. It's cultural. It's Athens.
Right.
It's something that True South will fight to protect. Hopefully for years to come, folks.
And Michael will tell you,
plugged in.
Michael, you agree with this?
Stay plugged in.
This place is a jewel. If you've been around the world, if you've been in a lot of different places, this is a very special
People
place.
worldwide love this place.
It's fantastic, and you don't want to lose what's made it special.
Right.
Michael, thanks so much for joining us this morning and sharing your story. We really appreciate it. It's
Absolutely.
a powerful one.
Thank you.
We're going to keep on carrying it forward. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Here on True South, News Talk 1340 WGAU, talking about all the pressing issues affecting our community.
Yeah. Russell, I know you're passionate about this.
This is the future of Athens.
Right.
I have an office in downtown Athens. My wife has a small business in downtown Athens. I don't want to, I shop at small businesses downtown. I have friends who own those businesses. I don't want to see those people go out of business.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. We can do better. We deserve better.
If you want to know more about this, there is a great book called Big Box Swindle that talks about all the ways. There's a myriad ways.
Well, we're going to have, and we're going to have a movie screening at the Georgia Theater. The high cost of low prices. I've been talking.
That's a good one too.
I've been talking to Wilmot Green. We're working on a date. Wilmot's a little under the weather today, but he's going on vacation. But we're going to pick out a date, and we're going to do a movie screening at the Georgia Theater. Walmart, the high cost of low prices. This is still an education campaign.
Right.
We're still spreading the word about what's being planned. There's still a lot of people that don't know. So, folks, sign that petition. Share it with your friends. We've got to spread the word about what's happening.
Exactly. Let's get it out there. Next week is our Thanksgiving leftovers show, where we'll pull out everything we've cooked up this year, refreshing some past shows, making a couple of corrections,
adding a few things we didn't get to chew on earlier, and asking your opinion on things.
and we'll talk about food also. The Department of